It's been 2 years I've been releasing camera reviews and DP-centric content for this channel. And since we're visual people, I used motion graphics and animations to illustrate my content, hoping they would help simplify my nerdy analysis and those complex topics I sometimes cover. But I was pleasantly surprised to see that, besides the interest in the substance of my content, these motion graphics were stealing the show. And you've consistently asked me how I created them. So in this episode, I'll answer all your questions and share with you all the secrets behind those animations. I'll break everything down from the tools I use, workflow, plugins, and surprise you with how all these seemingly complex animations are created using nothing but the most basic tools that you probably have. And to thank you for your continuous support, I'll share with you discount codes for all the plugins I use, all to make sure you get a good head start to go and create your own animations. As you already know, I'm a DP, not a motion graphics guy, so if I can do it, then you can. Let's start with the workflow. Imagine I'm talking about a camera review. The episode workflow will be split into 4 phases. First is the testing, where I experiment with the camera and put all the manufacturer's claims to the test to see if it really lives up to the hype they created. Then comes the scripting and animation, which takes the longest time, as you might have guessed. That's where I organize my thoughts and findings while simultaneously animating each section as I write it down. Once done, I shoot the content needed for the episode, such as test clips, product shots, and the talking head part, and so on. Then finally, combine everything into the edit. This whole process takes a minimum of 2 weeks, sometimes more, depending on the topic of course. Keep in mind, I'm a full-time DP, which explains why I'm very slow in releasing episodes here on YouTube. Now the parts that involve all those animations and transitions are the script plus animation and the editing. We'll chop off the boring scripting part and focus on those two. I only use one app for each, so let's check them out one by one, starting with animations. So everybody was guessing that I use pro-level motion graphics apps such as After Effects, Apple Motion, or even Cinema 4D. While these are all great tools that can do everything I need and a lot more, they're too advanced and a huge overkill for what I'm doing here. So no, I never used any of these and have no intentions to use them in the near or far future. I've got all I need and more right here from the good old Apple Keynote, the unsung hero of animation that will cost you absolutely nothing, as it comes for free on all your Macs, even your iPhone and iPad, making it super practical to work on my presentations on the go. I invite you to check it out yourself. You know, all Apple products are so intuitive and easy to learn. It literally took me a day without any help from YouTube to learn the basics and just got better with practice. Just to get the feel of it, here's a behind the scenes of how this episode looks like on Keynote after I'm done with all the animations for it. You can see all the slides on the left here where each one holds their corresponding animations. Like here for example, where you see the text animation stacked on top of each other along with the line animation that followed. The next thing to do now is to export everything to a video file. And get ready for the next step, editing. So this exported video file that comes from Keynote is only one component from all the content that goes into the episode. And that's where Final Cut comes in, my editing app of choice. I know many of you are using Premiere, which totally works as well, especially that it has a lot more advanced features for video editing, none of which will be needed here though. That's why, being a DP not an editor, Final Cut is the right tool for me and for what I'm doing here. Besides, it doesn't require a monthly subscription. Okay, so Final Cut will glue everything together with the help of my curated selection of transitions and plugins, which takes us to our next chapter. But before I tell you about them, let's clarify the difference between Keynote and Final Cut transitions. As I mentioned, Keynote creates the animations in all its slides, then I connect those slides with transitions unique to Keynote, then I export all this in a video file form, with all transitions and animations baked in. And that's where Keynote and its transitions are no longer needed. Then I go and shoot other video content such as B-roll and product shots for example, and that's when Final Cut comes in to combine all this together using those plugins and transitions with unique effects that cannot be achieved in Keynote. So there are 3 types of plugins I mainly use: transitions, callouts, and framing plugins. My go-to source for all of these is Motion VFX. They're specialized in creating really high quality and reliable plugins, mainly for Final Cut and Motion. Such as this zoom effect I frequently use when I want to draw your attention to a specific subject. In this case, it's the plugin itself. It's called AmCam Rig, a super cool plugin that gives you dynamic zoom and movement control over a virtual camera. It's great as it makes a boring 2D surface look more 3D. And of course you've seen it in all my videos, so you kind of understand why I like it. And the amazing thing about it is that it's free. I'll leave a link below. I find their other plugins to be on the pricier side of the market, but the quality of their products and their great customer support justifies it all and makes it all worth it. The other good news though is they're offering us 10% on all their products if you use the affiliate links below with the code DPJ10. And no, Motion VFX is not sponsoring this episode. I paid full price for all the plugins I'm using here. I do truly believe in their plugins, which is why I'm using and recommending them to you. And they were just kind enough to offer us 10% when I asked them. Okay, let's go back to those 3 types of plugins. As we already saw, MCamRig is the one I use for the dynamic framing. Then going to transitions, my favorite is M-Transition Shade, creating this kind of shadowy transitions you've seen in my episodes. They just released a more subtle version of it, which is more of a stylistic fade to black effect. The third transition I use is M-Zoom. It has this energetic feel to it that helps a lot when you need to make your video more dynamic, like in my S5 review episode for example, where I matched the B-roll camera movement with the transition direction, resulting in a very dynamic looking outro. Moving on to callouts, I mainly use M-Callouts Simple and M-Callouts Tech. Those are the kind of funky animated titles I sometimes use to tag subjects, like here for example. Sometimes it's static, and other times it tracks the motion of the subject. All those plugins are powered by Mocha, the most powerful industry standard professional tracking tool that's actually used in Hollywood. And that's mainly what I use in my episodes. Of course, there's a lot more plugins out there to choose from that can fit your needs and taste. So check them out, and don't forget, if you're interested in any of them, you will get 10% discount with the coupon code DPJ10 at checkout when you use the affiliate links below, to which I'll thank you for, as your contributions will help me grow this channel. So there you have it. Let me know if I answered all your questions, and feel free to ask me anything in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.